Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid preview. This is the preview to Real Madrid against Celta Vigo, back at home, back at the Bernabéu. What a feeling! It's been a month and 6 games consecutively away from home. I fully expect and believe that the Bernabéu is going to be a fortress for this game. The atmosphere is going to be brilliant. The crowd is going to be behind the team, and this is the kind of game we need. Okay, we've had six really tough games, six really tough places that we've gone. Okay, and now we are back at home. We're back at the Bernabéu. The fans, the crowd will hopefully, and I believe it will anyways, be with the team. And I think this will kickstart something in this team that we haven't seen in a while. Of course, I must say that when you play six tough games back to back to back to back to back away from home, it does take a toll on you mentally and physically. And we don't really talk about this enough. Like, I haven't heard many media outlets or many fans and many people talk about this, right? The fact that Real Madrid had to play six away games, I think it's ridiculous. It has happened before, and I think it's gonna happen again. Next season is gonna be the same, and we're gonna go through that same period again. But it's not easy. Just because these players have done it, it's not easy. Now, should the players still be winning? Yes. When you look at how poorly this team played, how subpar this team played in the last 6 games, there isn't an excuse to not win those 6 games, right? Liverpool are playing terribly. Every team is going to Anfield and winning. Why can't Real Madrid? The Rayo and Elche performances were terrible. The Girona performance wasn't good. Olympiacos we won, but it wasn't good defensively. And then you had Bilbao, which is a good performance, very good. And we are coming off the back of that. So look, we are sort of starting something here. We're back at home after a big win away from home. We will win. I think we will win. Of course, there's no guarantees. There's never a guarantee in life that it is going to be this, it is going to be that. But Real Madrid, time to put ourselves back on track and start winning. Well, we've got a big game against Celta. Midweek, we've got the game against Manchester City, which I will have to record earlier because I won't be able to record it because I will be traveling. But I will be recording this weekend as well. And for the team selection in that game, it might be very different to what the news might come out in the days leading up to it. And then I'm not sure if I'll be back for Alaves. I might have to record that as well early, just to get the preview out. I don't know. I will figure it out. But anyways, Celta Vigo at home. They are a good side. Let's not take anything away from them. I think typically Celta Vigo have always been a mid-table team. This season they are 12th in La Liga. 3 wins, 7 draws, 4 losses so far this season after 14 league games for them, because they are yet to play, because they played the Copa del Rey. So if they had won, they would actually only be a point behind Athletic Club, which is pretty interesting. But they are sort of in that 8th to 12th, 13th range. So you can say mid-table, right? No disrespect. They've got some very good players. But before we get into that, let's look at their form coming to this. So they won 7-6 on penalties against Saint Andrew in the Copa del Rey second round. Their last home game, or their last game was at home. They lost to Espanyol. Their last away game was to Ludogorets in the Europa League. They lost 3-2. They lost to Alaves. No, they actually beat Alaves 1-0 away from home. Lost at home to Barcelona 4-2. Won away at Dynamo Zagreb in the Europa League. Won away at Levante. Won in the Copa del Rey first round. Won away at Osasuna. Let's see what other away games. Lost away to Elche. Lost away at Stuttgart. Drew away at Rayo Vallecano. drew away at Mallorca at the start of the season. They are not the best team away from home. They are better at home for sure, but we are at home, and I fully expect this to be a straightforward win. Not gonna be arrogant, not going to be complacent. Of course, you must get the job done. Um, Iago Aspas, man, like this guy always scores against the big teams. I mean, does he score more against? Certainly, I believe he scores more against Barcelona than anyone. But yeah, he always pops up in big games. They've got um, Borja Iglesias still going. They've got Marcos Alonso, obviously was a former Real Madrid player, um, and obviously was a former Barcelona player as well. Came to the Real Madrid academy, and then built up a really, really solid career since. They've got Brian Zaragoza, very good player. Ferran Jukla, as well, very good player. They've got a couple of ex-Barcelona players in there as well. You know, Oscar Mingueza, Moriba. Um, I've I have seen their team, and there are a couple of young players that I really like. Right, I know I'm a FIFA career mode guy, but I've signed Javi Rodriguez. He's a really, really good right back who can also play centre back. Really good player, like him. They've got Svetberg in the midfield, good player. And I think they've got a few others that I'm not talking about at the moment, or I've not talked about. Starfelt is a good defender. Pablo Duran, young, 24-year-old, um, striker, winger, very good player as well. They have got some good players in that team. And under the leadership of Iago Aspas, they are certainly a team that won't get relegated for sure. They are definitely going to be safe. But I could see them pushing for top 7, top 8. Not, 5th or 6th, but I mean 7th place, 8th place, 9th place. I can see that. And if you look at their finish last season, they finished 7th. That's why they're in the Europa League, right? The season before that, it wasn't as good. It was 13th. So probably mid-range, maybe 9th, maybe 10th this season. But 7th, 8th place with the quality they have is honestly not, unrealistic, considering they did that last season. But you're taking on a team that is certainly, I think, top 10 for sure. If you look at the better teams, I think, Athletic Club, I don't think Getafe and Espanyol are top 10. I think Real Sociedad are. I think Celta are. And you could argue one or two others. Maybe Sevilla, Valencia maybe. Should be in there. Rayo Vallecano as well. Very good teams. Some very good teams, I would say. But hey, at home, at the Bernabéu, bring it on, right? Really, really looking forward to this one. Now, how would Xabi Alonso line up? I don't think this is how I would line up. I would almost instantly start Mastantuono, but it depends on how fit he is. But how I think Xabi Alonso has to line up is pretty much this, and how he should line up and how he will line up, all in one. Courtois, Carreras, Rudiger, Militao, Valverde. As of recording, there isn't really a report on how long Dean Huijsen's still going to be out for. Maybe a couple more games. But if that's the case, Rudiger, Militao, I could see Raul Asensio starting either at centre back or at right back. It depends. I think Rudiger could be rested, Fede Valverde could be rested or starts in midfield. But like I said, I'm going to go face value. I fully expect Raul Asensio to be up for contention in starting. I wouldn't be surprised if the team sheet comes out on Sunday night and Raul Asensio is in there, right? I'm happy with that. Midfield, I have gone for Tchouaméni and Camavinga. Now, Camavinga is indeed fine. Unfortunately for Trent, he is out until the new year. So that's really, really unfortunate. Just when he was building up their confidence, playing well for a couple of games. We saw, I think, Elche, Olympiacos, Athletic Club. Girona wasn't great, but he was building up game time. 4 games in a row, 3 really good games, in my opinion. And then he gets that injury, which is so unfortunate and so sad. So I hope he gets well soon. Camavinga, I don't think it's too serious. Fabrizio Romano did say that Real Madrid hope he's back by this weekend. So I do think that if he's fit, he starts. If it's not, it could be Fede Valverde and Raul Asensio goes to right back. So Fede Valverde Arda Güler, Tchouaméni, Bellingham as the four-man midfield, and then Vini and Mbappe up front. But in the case he is fit, he starts. Because we are looking at Man City midweek. And whatever confidence and whatever momentum we can bring into that Man City game, it starts in the midfield. Because I've said this many times, Camavinga and Tchouaméni as a pivot play so well. Right? The ability to play in the midfield duo and to do things. And we saw it. We saw it in a couple of games. I don't remember which game exactly. Let me go and have a look. So it was the last game, and it was against Olympiacos, wasn't it? So Olympiacos and Athletic Club, the two games that both Camavinga and Tchouaméni started as a pivot. Against Girona, he went with Bellingham, Güler, Valverde, Tchouaméni. We didn't play well. Right? Against Bilbao, we did. Against Olympiacos, we didn't play well defensively, but in the midfield, it was a lot more balanced. Against Elche, let's have a look. The midfield, see, it was Ceballos, Güler, Bellingham, and then he went for back three. So look, Xabi Alonso needs to find stability and a consistent starting 11 and a consistent midfield that works. And what works is Camavinga and Tchouaméni as the duo, the pivot. You can go Güler and Bellingham slightly ahead, so it's like a 4-2-2-2. Or you can go Fede Valverde and Bellingham, and you have a bit more balance in that. Either ways, I'm happy with either. Which is why I said Raul Sancho should and could come in at right back, and then Fede Valverde goes into the midfield. But one thing I do think is he going to bench Güler again, especially at home? I don't see it. Which is why the likelihood of him benching Rudiger, starting as Sancho at centre back, Valverde right back, Güler midfield is so much higher. And that gives Rudiger a rest, that gives Asensio game time, that gives Güler game time, that gives Camavinga and Tchouaméni that ability to play together. If Camavinga is fit, of course. I think that makes perfect sense. And then Bellingham has to sort of build up the confidence again. He had two good games against Juventus and Barcelona, and then the form has dipped. I know he's got he got an assist against Elche, didn't he? No, he scored against Elche, right? Yeah, he did score against Elche. I can't remember. Did he? Yes, he did. Right, he did. And Mbappe got the assist. He scored against Elche, but it wasn't a good performance. And every other game, Girona, Olympiacos, he was absent. Right? When Vini and Mbappe are doing more and getting the goals, like against Olympiacos, Bellingham isn't there. And we want to see Bellingham join the party. Getting goals, getting assists, and it's just not working out for him at the minute. So we want to see a better Bellingham. We want to see a more confident, a more, happy and less frustrated version of him, right? Mbappe, best player in the world. Vini Jr., I think will start. Would I start Rodrigo? Yes, but I think Vini will start in that game. Fortunately or unfortunately, you can interpret it both ways if you want. Because I don't think his performances have been good enough to suggest that he's a nailed-on starter. Right? For me, the nailed-on starters are literally Courtois, Alvaro Carreras when he's fit. I think Eder Militao, Tchouaméni, Camavinga if they're playing together as the pivot, and Mbappe. Really, there's 6 players in this team that are nailed-on. Right? Fede Valverde as well. I would say Fede Valverde, right? But I prefer him in the midfield. 7, right? The other centre-back spot, I think Rudiger when he's fit is a starter. But how often can he play 90 minutes 2 times a week? We don't know yet. Arda Güler, can he operate well in a midfield with Bellingham? We don't know yet. Same for Bellingham. Can he operate well in a midfield with Güler? And then Vini Jr., is he good enough? Is he consistent enough? And should Rodrigo be given a chance? So those are 4 positions that I'm looking at, thinking they could all be swapped and someone else could come in. And I think we'll operate fine. Right? But I think there's 6 or 7 starters in this team that are near on. Anyway, score predictions. I'm going to go Real Madrid 2, Celta Vigo 0. Nice back-to-back clean sheet. A 2-goal win isn't exactly, exciting to many. But I'm here to just say take the points and try to sort of minimize the gap to Barcelona, of course. They won against Atletico Madrid, which isn't ideal. I would have preferred Atletico winning or a draw, but it didn't happen. So we've put ourselves in a position where we are now behind, but it's how we recover. Okay, still a long season to go. There's still another 23 games to go. How we recover, how we bounce back from this poor form, this poor dip, it's up to the players, it's up to Xabi Alonso, and this is the game that he makes things right. If he can go back-to-back games again and start winning, then we will get the faith again. The fans will be behind him, which I am. I am behind him. I'm sure there are a lot of people who aren't, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are, but I am part of the people who are supportive and back Xabi Alonso. But it's time that we deliver. Because yes, I can say I can say that I will back him, but if the results are not delivering week after week, then I can't really say that, can I? Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you did, subscribe to the channel on already, and if I'm able, I'll be back next week for the reviews for all the games I've missed out. So it will be this Celta Vigo game, it will be Manchester City away, not away, at home, and then I don't know if I'll be back by the next game, next weekend, which is against Alaves away. If I am, great. If not, I might not have a preview. I don't know. It's a Sunday night as well. I will record all the 3 previews, including this one, ahead of time, and if I'm not able to, I'll just, upload it and whatever. But the reviews will be back. Thank you guys for coming in, for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.